Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. Recently it was my birthday on a weekday and I thought, well, I'm not gonna do any office work, but instead I'll borrow a car and have some fun, all by myself. I borrowed the ZS EV for a few hours because personally I like electric vehicles, not because of all those zero emissions, going green, change what you can and such marketing terms, but because of this almost instant torque delivery that you get in a car that is not an expensive sports car. If you have driven one of these or any equivalent already, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So here are my thoughts on the experience with the ZS EV, starting with the design, which I think is very easy because the ZS EV looks very simple and understated in my opinion. There's nothing particularly crazy about the styling. It's all simple, clean lines which will please everyone, or at least most of them, but offend none. At the time of filming this video, the petrol variants of the ZS have received a facelift in the UK and Thailand, but that styling has not yet been passed on to the ZS EV. This is how the car currently looks everywhere else in the world. The front has these projector headlights. Remember, these are not LEDs, but they are surrounded by LED running lights. The concave shaped grille has this really nice pattern, which according to MG was inspired by the magnetic fields between the celestial bodies. The center section of it is in fact the charging port. This is where you plug in. Down at the bottom you have this plastic accent, and the side intakes are not really intakes, they are just for cosmetic reasons. And further down you have a skid plate like insert. On the side I really like this window line that raises up and sort of aligns with the spoiler at the rear, and the designers have tried to make the side profile look muscular with these haunches and shoulder lines, but otherwise the side profile looks very clean. While we are on the side, we might as well talk about these 17-inch wheels. They were apparently inspired by the Dutch classic windmills, and I don't disagree with that. They look really cool. Same story at the rear, everything looks clean. These tail lights have an LED signature. The shape of this signature, according to MG, was inspired by the Ursa Major constellation, also known as the Big Dipper, which is comprised of 7 brightest stars. I'm not sure why this was inspired by the constellation, but I do like the overall clean looks of the rear. What I don't like, however, is this Internet Inside badge. I just think it looks cheesy. While we are at the rear, let's also open up the tailgate and check out the luggage space on offer. Speaking of which, it is of a decent size. I don't know the exact capacity in liters, sadly. If anyone knows, please do let me know in the comments down below. You also have the 60-40 split rear seats if you want more luggage space, of course. And the parcel shelf can be completely removed should you need to. As for the build and panel gaps, they look fairly consistent except for a few areas where you'll find some inconsistencies, but you'll only find them when you are searching for it. Let's hop on board and check out the cabin then. You get this all black theme as standard. Remember, there are only 2 trims to pick from, Excite and Exclusive. This is obviously the latter. You do get leather seats, leather wrapped steering wheel, and more leather of course. In case you're wondering, it is a man-made leather. As for the seats, they are comfy. The driver gets 6-way power adjustment, which should do a decent job of finding you a comfortable driving position. The steering wheel only has tilt adjustment, no telescopic adjustment here. Other features would include an 8-inch touchscreen with connected car features, which is standard across both trims. There are about 6 speakers in total. You also get USB charging ports, and this exclusive trim also gets a panoramic glass roof, which I think looks fantastic. The instrument cluster is nothing fancy. There's an MID in the middle where you can toggle between various bits of information. Cruise control is a standard feature. This range-topping version will also get a built-in PM 2.5 air filter, which is claimed to offer healthy air inside the cabin. For some reason, there is no auto AC in the ZS EV. This is a manual one, but it does a good job of cooling down the cabin. In terms of practicality and storage, you do have decent sized door pockets, cup holders and storage in the center console. And the glove box is also of a decent size. In terms of the materials used, well, I'm not entirely sure if you can ask for more in this price point. I mean, nothing looks too shabby. Things look fairly well put together. Let's go and check out the rear then, shall we? Okay, so I'm 5 feet and 8 inches tall, and the front seat is set to my driving position obviously, and I have a fairly good amount of legroom. Headroom is also pretty good for me. Although there's a flat floor, you can't really seat 3 people in here for a long time. It's gonna be a bit uncomfortable. In terms of amenities, there's an USB charging port, and for some reason there is no armrest here. But otherwise, the rear is a pretty good place to be for 2 people. We'll talk about the driving experience a bit, but first, let's get the numbers out of the way. It has got a single electric motor at the front that develops 143 horsepower and 353 Newton meters of torque. The battery pack is of a 44.5 kWh capacity, which is claimed to offer a range of up to 340 kilometers. So how does the ZS EV drive then? Well, it drives a lot better than I expected, and I enjoyed driving this more than I thought I would. There are 3 modes to play with: normal, eco and sport, and I always left it in the sport mode obviously. This torque delivery is so addictive, you wanna experience it over and over again. I mean, if something like a compact everyday SUV can offer such an experience, imagine what would it be like to drive something like a Porsche Taycan. I'm not saying that you can't drive the Taycan every day, but it is way more expensive than the ZS EV, which means this is like a budget fun, you know. The suspension tuning is pretty good. It does a good job of soaking up the bumps and lumps. And the tires are not of low profile, which means they also help and work with the suspension in offering a decent ride quality. The steering doesn't really offer any feedback, but it is light at low speeds and weighs up nicely when you build up speed. The brakes do a decent job and it is fairly progressive, but at times you do wish that it offered a little more bite. Also, there are 3 levels of regenerative braking that you can adjust. So then, what are my final thoughts? Well, as you might have guessed already, I do like it more than I thought I would. And the big question is, of course, should you buy one of these? Well, if you're in search of an electric SUV and you have the budget and you don't want to spend a bit more for the Kona EV, I don't see why you shouldn't buy this. Here in Bengaluru, the ZS EV starts at 20.88 lakh, which is almost 2.9 lakh cheaper than its nearest competitor, the Kona Electric. But I guess the Kona offers a bit more range and features, so it all comes down to what you really want. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I guess that's it for now. As always, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and talk to you guys in the next video.